Okay, so right now I'm on New Orleans TikTok where they're talking about all the like haunted and like vampire stuff that's like happening to them. And I don't have like a lot of like stories like this, but I do have one of when I was an EMT, and me and my 50-year-old Christian woman partner, who she does not believe in this stuff at all. We were taking this patient that was on a 5150 that was being extended. And so we took her to like a longer stay home, which I've never seen like a home like this in LA before. But it was basically like this wood house in Atwater Village. And the moment you pull up, it just looks like this wooden Victorian situation, like something you would see in a movie. Like if you've ever seen that movie Monster House as a kid, like that's what it looked like. And the vibes were just like not right as soon as you got out. But I was like, you know, whatever. We get out and this poor woman, she was just not doing well. I don't think I'm allowed to tell you what was wrong with her. Anyways, we get out and she was like, please don't leave me here. Like I can see things, and like she's like sobbing to me. She's like, please don't leave me here. But like, I have to, you know, like as much as I don't want to leave you here because it is fucking haunted, you can tell. What am I supposed to do? I'd be kidnapping you. Anyways, we get inside. We can barely get her freaking gurney in there. And we're taking her up to the room. The whole time she's just sobbing, this poor girl. And my partner just kind of attributed that to that obviously she didn't want to be in another mental health institution. But so we took her there. They did her vitals. They took her to the room and whatever. We were all done. We get in this elevator. And I'm like nervous laughing just thinking about it. We like condense our little gurney, and we close the elevator, and it says 3, 2, 1, and those are the only buttons. So we click 1, and we stop at 1, the doors don't open, and then it just keeps going down, and I'm like, what the fuck? And the doors open, pitch black. It's pitch black. This is obviously the basement, right? It's pitch black, and you can't really hear anything except like this growling, and not like that, but like growling of like a machine or something. And it's just like really eerie, and the vibes, the energy was just sucked out. Like it's like negative energy. I'm pushing the button and she's looking at me like, Hannah, please push the button. And I was like, I'm trying, like, and I'm pushing 1, I'm pushing 2, I'm pushing everything just so we could go up. And I'm not even shitting you when I say this. I say this with my whole heart. This is the scariest thing that's ever happened to me. We heard footsteps, slow footsteps, like a heeled man's shoe walking from the back of the room to the front of the room, but it's pitch black. You can't see anything. Slow footsteps. And she looks at me, and I was like, and we're both pushing buttons. We're pushing the emergency button. We're trying to manually close it because something was wrong. They are about to like come in the elevator light. The footsteps are about to come in the elevator light, and finally it closes. We go back up to 1, and she is like pooping her pants. I am like shaken to the core, and we look at the security guard, and I'm like, there is something wrong with your elevator. It took us to the basement. He said, we don't have a basement here, ma'am. We get back in the ambulance. We just had to sit there. We couldn't even clean the gurney for a minute. Like, we had to sit there. And she said, what the fuck? This poor woman, she doesn't cuss. She's a good Christian woman. And we just never talked about it. Even talking about it is giving me, like, goosebumps. Because
What? I do it. So there's reasons why I don't do elevators. Like, you know, the important reason was when I was in college and our college is old. My college is old. So there was this one, well, there's a few buildings that have old elevators. There's not, but this one building, it was my psychology building. I think it was. Ain't that something? My psychology building. And the elevator was real old. So I was running late and I was running. And in that elevator, it's a psychology building, it's a psychology school, like science and psychology. That's the school. So everyone has psychology classes, everyone has classes in this building. Like all the psychology classes are on the 3rd floor. So everybody's on this elevator. I'm running and I see all these people, and these buttholes don't hold the door open. The elevator door is open. So I slide through and I get caught in between the elevator doors. And it's an old elevator, so guess what? No sensors. So it just keeps on closing and closing and squishes me. And thankfully, somebody, like literally, I'm looking at them, they look at me like it's just the elevator's packed. They're just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And we're just, but no one's saying anything. We're just looking at each other, terrified. No one's doing anything. I'm getting crushed. And finally, it clicks in somebody's head to press the open button. And there we are. I was saved. But that's why I don't do elevators. I don't like it. Also because college, living on, like, I think I was on the 7th floor. I had to use the elevator a lot. So the elevator would get stuck a lot. And I got stuck in the elevator for like hours before, 3 hours before. I know I told y'all this story. Everybody was looking for me, like, where you been? People folded my laundry for me, all in my room, just chilling, like, well, I don't know where she is, but we're here. We're just fold some laundry. Got caught in the elevator, stuck in the elevator for over 3 hours. Ever get stuck in the elevator and you have to use the bathroom and you're low-key naked because you're doing laundry? Yeah, not fun. That's why I just do not use elevators. But this is another reason. On top of all my reasons. Like, what? You're saying it goes down to a floor that does not exist? He said it don't exist. You didn't see it on the buttons. It didn't exist to you. But you was there. You hear footsteps. It's dark. That was just too much. What would you do in that situation, bro? Could you imagine if you were alone? Thankfully, she had somebody to die with. Would she? She has somebody to be on the line with. Wouldn't you be by yourself? I couldn't even imagine being in that moment. I'd be like, all right, okay. This is what we got to do. We got to use this gurney and we're going to fight for our lives. All right, you got me? Whatever comes around the corner, we just got to be ready. And what if nothing comes around the corner? You just hear the footsteps and it stops in front of the freaking elevator, bro. And you don't see nothing. That was too much. That was too much. I mean, she was a believer then. Like, oh no. Over here made a church woman cuss, honey. I've done a few things in my lifetime to make some church woman cuss. So imagine, bro, you gotta do some things, honey. You gotta do a lot. Like, she must have been scared out of her mind. I'll be scared. I'm scared just thinking about it, just imagining it.
All right, so this is my scary story. Some of you guys might remember this story because I'm pretty sure I told it a while ago, like several years ago, but I'm gonna tell it again because it was really scary. So I used to live in this house. It was actually the house that I grew up in. I lived in it from age 5 to 22, and it was in Wilmington, North Carolina, which is already like a pretty haunted, I think they call it like one of the most haunted cities in the country. But this house definitely had some strange goings on in it. I don't know if it was a ghost, like a spirit or a poltergeist, or what it was, but I have a lot of stories about this house. So for the sake of this video, I'm just going to tell this one story, but if you guys want to hear more, then let me know and I can tell you more. It's been a long time since I told a scary story on my TikTok, so telling this story is honestly kind of giving me nostalgia vibes. It's kind of taking me back to a simpler time. But anyway, this particular story happened when me and my sister Honey were the only two at home. So my dad, I remember, was on a walk. He used to go on nightly walks just to get that cardio in. And my other sister who lived with us was somewhere else. She was like at her friend's house or something. So me and Honey, my oldest sister, were the only ones home at the time. And we were sitting on the couch in the living room just taking some quizzes on Facebook. I remember that's how long ago this was. We were taking quizzes on Facebook and we started hearing something like rattling coming from upstairs, which directly above us was my dad's bedroom. So we started hearing like odd noises, like shuffling, like that type of thing coming from the ceiling, which was the floor to my dad's bedroom. And the noises kept getting louder and louder. Eventually, after this going on for quite a while, like maybe, honestly, I want to say like 30 minutes or so, because my dad would usually go on walks for like 45 minutes, and this had been going on for quite some time. So I want to say it had been going on for about 30 minutes or so. We were hearing noises, and it started to morph into the sound of footsteps. I say it morphed into the sound of footsteps because it literally sounded supernatural, if that makes sense. You guys are probably gonna think I'm crazy, but it did not sound like normal. Like, it sounded like it defied logic, if that makes sense. So it was just like shuffling, and then all of a sudden it morphed, like it transitioned into footsteps. And the footsteps got heavier and heavier, and me and Honey we looked at each other and we were like, do you hear that? And when we said, do you hear that? Like right when we acknowledged it out loud, the noises turned into like stomping footsteps. And we weren't doing anything at this moment because we, like, all this was happening so fast, and we were pretty young at the time. At least I was young at the time. I was 13, Honey was like 18. And I feel like we just didn't know what to do in that moment, but it turned into like stomping footsteps, and it all happened so fast. And my dad would keep a gate in front of his room because he didn't want the cat to go into his bedroom, but he wanted to keep the door open for like airflow. And our cat was morbidly obese, so he couldn't jump over the gate. So whenever my dad would go into his room, you could hear the gate like moving. It was a distinct noise. Nothing else, no other like house noises sounded like this particular gate moving, so it was very distinctive. And right when we acknowledged it out loud, when we said, do you hear that, it turned into stomping footsteps, and then we heard the gate in front of my dad's door move open, and stomping footsteps came down the stairs. Now, it's important to note that the stairs were right next to us, like the sofa that we were sitting on, it was right next to like the foyer area. And so the stairs were literally right next to us, but they were like winding stairs, so we couldn't see the top half of the stairs, we could only see the bottom half. And our dad's bedroom was right at the top of the stairs. So right after we heard the gate open, we heard the footsteps stomping down the stairs. And it was so scary. We knew it wasn't the cat because we had the cat with us. And it just, I feel like it traumatized me because every time I talk about it, I get so scared, and I feel like I don't want to conjure anything up. Like, I feel like, oh. But, so we heard the footsteps coming down the stairs, and it was stomping down the stairs, and we were just sitting there in shock for what felt like several seconds, but I'm pretty sure it was just like 1 or 2 seconds. And as soon as I like processed what I was hearing, I got up and I ran past the stairs, and I ran directly to the garage door, and I ran out the door into the garage, and I turned around and Honey was not with me, so I ran back inside to get my sister, and she was in frozen shock on the sofa. And when I ran back inside to get her, there was nobody there. There was no body to the noise. There was no one there.
Sis said, I left my sister. I took off to the garage. I looked back and she wasn't there. I looked around myself. Where is Honey? Honey, did you get stuck on the couch? Yes, Honey is stuck on the couch, frozen in fear. What? At least she went back. I think if it was a friend, she would have been back. She would not have went back. The fact that it was her sister, her blood, she was like, Cause what, friend? No, that's not it. I don't know. You know, I don't want to ask no questions because I don't want the answer in real life. I don't want the answer. I feel all day. You be like, oh, I don't know if I want to talk about it. I feel some type of way, you know? But dang, yeah, no, that was one of those. I don't know. Are you fighting or flighting in that situation? When you have somebody with you, just like the elevator story, are you fighting or flight? Because in the elevator, you had no choice but to fight. Where you gonna flight to? You gonna flight into the darkness? This imaginary room? Like, we didn't even talk about what the imaginary room could be. He's like, there's no room. We didn't even talk about that. What could that have been? Like, they could have dropped down into, you know where? HE double hockey stick. Like, we don't even know about that. But in that situation where you in your house, in the garage, that is an exit. You can just exit. Are you fighting? Staying to fight? Or you flighting? You out of here. Which one you doing? Because in that moment, you had a choice. Elevator, you ain't have a choice. You just did not have a choice. I guess you could have, hunched down and cried and just wait to die. Wait to be unalive. But, yeah.
So I never tell the story because no one ever believes me, and also I kind of question my own sanity. I'll be like, did that really happen? But I know that happened. I saw a girl story time on here, and it just validated my whole experience because she said this happens a lot in Illinois. So I'm from Chicago, the east side, and around the time that this happened, I was like 16. I remember just getting my license, and I was so excited because I finally got a taste of freedom. I could do whatever I want. I can go wherever I want, and I was so excited. But my mom gave me 11:30 curfew, so I was like the type of person who would like wait until the very last minute to leave wherever I was at to try to get home on time at 11:30. So I remember I was just leaving my friend's house, and I was almost home, y'all. Like I was like right around the corner from my house. So if you guys are familiar with Chicago, you might know where CVS High School is. So I was like on 87th. I was right by CVS, and then I remember turning left, right? And I turned left, and I was driving straight, and it was like I said, it was like around 11:30, so it was dark outside, and I looked and I saw a humongous animal. Like it was I don't know if it was a panther or a tiger. It definitely wasn't a tiger. It was like a big, huge animal. And when I say like I almost shit my pants, like I was like I froze in the car, and I was at a stop sign when I looked over and I saw it, and he was just walking, and when I stopped, it looked at me, and like we locked eyes, and then I just kept driving. I was like, oh my God, like I had to get home because I need to make my curfew or I was gonna get beat up and I was gonna get in trouble. So I was like, let me just try to get home and forget about that, right? And I was like, I'm gonna like tell my mom when I get home, right? So I got home, my mom was livid because I missed curfew, and I didn't even end up telling her. I remember telling my friends the next day, and nobody believed me. So I remember like looking up, did an animal escape from the zoo? I found nothing on that. And like I said, like I lived in the city, so it wasn't normal for us to see like huge, ginormous panthers or whatever the case may be, whatever animal that was. It wasn't normal to see stuff like that at all. And I don't know, like to this day, I always think like, what was that? Like, it was so strange. Like it was such a strange looking animal, like something an animal I've never seen before, an animal I don't even know if it exists. So yeah, y'all, like very, very weird experience.
I just heard a story about that. I don't know who I was watching. I watched so many creators when it comes to spooky stories. Shout out to I have so many shout outs. Shout out to Noah, of course. Shout out to Rebecca, Kaya, Loie Lane, Bailey Sarian, got her name right this time. All those creators, Kobe and Sam and Kobe, all of them. I just watched a video. I don't know who it was who put it out because I watched them all the time. It was a babysitter. It was a girl. She had a babysitter, and there was this. I think she was outside and saw this panther, werewolf, whatever it was. I feel like it was, a werewolf, something evil, something of evil. And she saw it outside, and she was just like, that's interesting. It was a black, it had a little white little streak in his hair, on his fur, on his head. And she was like, okay. So she goes inside, tells her babysitter, and her babysitter was just like, that was just a cat. And she was just like, I know what a cat looks like. We have a dang cat. I know what a cat looks like. Cats are not this big. Cat, panther, you know what I'm saying? Two difference. So she goes up, and it's like 11 o'clock or something, 11 o'clock at night when she's going to sleep or whatever. And then she hears a knock on the door, or a doorbell rings. Babysitter opens it. It's this man in all black, with a black hair, with a little patch of white hair on the top of his head, and he's just like, yeah, I need to use your phone, this and that. She lets him in. This is, you know the story, because I know you've seen the video, because you watch the same creators I watch. Interesting, because in her story it was just like, yeah, we don't have panthers in this area. We don't have big animals like that, mountain lions, nothing like that in this area. So it just made me think of that, like, so if y'all don't have those type of animals in this nature area, what was that? We know what that was. Keep your energy safe. I'm glad she kept on driving. She didn't lock eyes with it. How many times you locked eyes with an animal in the nature that's native to the area? You don't lock eyes with them. They go on their way, especially if they're used to seeing people. They don't even pay no mind to you. I was just driving down the interstate, saw 2 deers just running on the field beside the interstate with us cars. They just doing their own thing because they're native to the area. They're used to this. So yeah, no, that wouldn't happen. That wasn't no real life, creature that, well, God made every creature. But that right there might have been evil. Look, the country came out because it's like, what? Yeah, no. You know what that was, Fred. I'm glad you safe. That was real life, and other people have experienced it. So keep your safety. Keep a safety net.
I'm not imagining this. It's like 1:30 in the morning. It is. It's 1:30 in the morning. I'm at a hotel by myself, minding my own business, about to drift off to sleep, and I get a freaking call from the phone that's in the hotel room, like the landline phone. I didn't even know those worked anymore. And I answer. I get up, I answer, and it's the guy from the front desk that I've been seeing like all freaking day, who's made me feel uncomfortable. And he's like, hey, there's a pizza down here for you. And I was like, I didn't order a pizza. And he was like, well, please take it. It has your room number on it. I was like, that's not possible, I didn't order it. And he's like, well, what's your room number? And I was like, you know what my room number is because you called my room. What do I do?
Girl, call the police. What the crap? You hear what he said? He said, I hear the things you said about me on the phone. What the crap, bruh? What the crap? Girl, be safe. Girls, women's, be careful when you're traveling alone, because what was that? That was a setup. He was trying to get you downstairs to the lobby to do whatever. That wasn't him. That couldn't have been him, because he knows what room you're in. Girl, be safe, because he knows what room you're in, and he has a key as well, girl. Nope. You know they got those things on Amazon that you can put in your door so nobody can get in, even if they have a key. Get that. Invest in that. Everybody, everyone, women and men, and girls, boys, invest in that. Because that's crazy. He over here, that was no freaking coincidence. You over here telling us about him, and he just knocks on the door like, oh, I can hear what you're saying about me on the phone. The audacity. Because who does that? Who comes to the door? If I already told you that, nah, I'm good. You've been creepy all day. Now you gonna come to my door? I thought you didn't know what room I was at. So now you hear me? Now you know what room I am? And you hear me talking about you? Well, hear it. Hear it, because I'm about to be on the phone with the cops, because you're doing too much. You're doing way too much. Wow. Wow, friends. Be careful, because what was that? Girl, bye. Girl, freaking bye. Oh, my. Have me scared to come out my room? Oh, no. Girl, I'm just like, girl, travel with your Smith and Wesley, honey, because what are we doing? I gotta get a new. That just makes me want to go shopping, gun shopping, because Academy always got a good sale. And the one I got, I need to get the smaller one. Those cute little ones, I need to get one of those just for traveling purposes only, because, I don't know. And I don't need nobody to find out with me. Because, honey.
Story about a time that you know that you saw something, but you don't ever tell this story because you know that no one would ever believe.
Okay, so I have a story for you. We're from a small town in Mexico called Tocaltiche, Jalisco, okay? And my parents used to take us as children to visit our relatives, right? And it is very, I can't explain it, it's just very earthy, very nature. Mexico is, I don't know, you just feel closer to people there. It's just different. Anyway, we used to love going down there, and I used to love visiting all my relatives. And one day, then I was on my way back home to check in with my mom, and I saw one of my cousins. She said, hey, you want to go to the centro with us? And I was like, oh yes, of course I want to go with you, but let me just go let my mom know. And she's like, we don't have time, we'll just be right back. So this was around noon, okay? It was 8:30 at night when we got back. My mother was hysterical. She had the whole neighborhood looking for me, and when I got home, she was whipping my ass. Like, woo! where the hell were you? Why didn't you tell me where you went? How could you do this to me? She was hysterical. So one of my other aunts stepped in and said, Mija, why don't you just let her come stay by my house? You're really upset, and you know, she's just let her stay with me tonight. And I said, yes, I want to go. I remember one thing about this aunt, that she had a son that was murdered. It was her eldest son who used to be in charge of the family because she was a widower. So it really hurt her. Like, it was, she never got over it. My aunt lived in pain her whole life. And you can sense that walking in her house. There was a lot of grief. We went to go to bed, and she's like, you go to bed, Mija, I'm just going to say my rosary, because she was Catholic. And she's like, I'm just going to say a quick rosary and I'll come right to bed. I said, okay, Tia. So I can see her, I can hear her murmuring the rosary back and forth. And she was, you know, just repeating. And I fell asleep. And then I woke up, and it was like, I don't know, past midnight. And she was still praying. And I thought, ooh, how long is this thing going to go? But whatever, I said, I'm gonna go back to sleep. I went back to sleep, and I woke up again because she was still praying, and it was like waking me up. Over to her, and I see her rocking back and forth. She had like a robe over her, and I was like, oh, I don't want to bother her, but woke up, and I said, Tia, how much longer are you gonna be? You know, I peeked over my blankets. I said, how much longer are you going to be? And she stopped, and she stared at me dead in the face, and I couldn't see her face. I could see like the light coming in from the outside, like the moonlight, but I knew it was her, and she looked like she was upset. I mean, it just stone cold stared at me. I went to go lay down. As I'm laying down, I look over, and my aunt was laying right next to me. Instantly froze. Instantly, I was like, oh hell no. I just stood there, and I did not move an inch. Like, I had my blankets like this, and that's how I stayed the whole night until the sun came out. When I saw the sun come out, I quickly got up, and I looked over, and I saw the chair. It wasn't a rocking chair, it was just a regular chair. And my aunt's like, you're going home, you don't want breakfast? No thanks, bye, see ya. Did never go back.
Girl, what? In that moment, honey, in that moment, I looked over and then looked back over and see where my auntie is laying. And see my auntie laying there beside me. Auntie! Somebody up in here. Bruh, get your Glock, auntie, because somebody in here, my auntie would have woke up like, what's up, baby? What's up? What's happening? Well, I don't have an aunt. Now that I think, let me think. Do I have an aunt? Bruh, I don't have an aunt. Now that I think about it. Because I was like, my mom has a brother. And then my grandma has brothers. Oh my God. I don't have an aunt. What? That's crazy. Well, I have a great aunt by marriage. Because, you know, my grandma has brothers. And they have wives. That's crazy. But yeah, I would assume if I had an aunt... she would be up like, what's up? It's all like Donkey Kong, you know, feel me? Like, I would not have just been laying there, just waiting for something like the sunrise or like it over there. And I'm just waiting. And I know it's watching me because I know it's there because I saw it with my eyes. And my aunt's right here who could probably do something, who's probably experienced it probably before in her own house. Like, nope. Something would have had to be done. I would not just be sitting there stagnant, just waiting for the sun. And then you hear a lot of stories about that where you just waiting for the sun to go. This is me now. I'm thinking about me now. Me then, I can see that happening because I have done it before when something was a little creepy, scary or whatever. I just think, especially when I went to go see scary movies, I probably wasn't supposed to. I would stay up all night. And especially when I go over people's houses, I stayed up all night, but that was for a different reason. I didn't want to sleepwalk or whatever, sleep talking, scare them at their own house, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I probably would have done, well, no, because I really feel like I would have said something. I would have told somebody something, especially my aunt's right there. No, you got to wake up. You got to wake up. Like, what are we doing? So yeah. Subscribe.